Welcome back, it's Laura at Hyperstamper. This is a lovely antique book. It is a Ben-Hur, and if you go into any antique store, you're going to see about 11 million Ben-Hurs, all different publishers. They all wanted a piece of this book. So I've had many Ben-Hur books that I've turned into junk journals, and so you've still got that wonderful historic spine there in the back. I love how faded it is. And it had the word Ben-Hur here, but I covered it so that I could add something a little fancier. So I just covered it with some black cardstock and added this vintage pendant. So you can still loop that into a chain, just pull it off. I've made it so it can be pulled off and just clean the adhesive off the back. I've added some vintage chain to the side to match that beautiful gold and the gold here, and some ribbons that complement the cover. So let's take a look inside. I love this old book. This is about a 120-year-old book here. I've got the original first book pages and end pages. And then this is Lew Wallace, who was the author of Ben-Hur, and publication information here. And let's dive right in. This is a photo that is from the 1920s, just of a couple sitting on their porch. I thought it was very sweet. Here is a 1937 ledger page. It's an attendance page for the Beacon Lodge. I just love the writing. They were so diligent in this. This is a real keeper, that one. I have lots of these attendance logs, but that's the oldest one I have. All from the same place. There's a lovely tree from a vintage dictionary book. Here is a plate from 1920s school book. I love it. Grandma reading a story to the little boy here. And we've got some perennials here from an antique perennial book. And look at this wonderful, wonderful postcard that's in London or England, 1956. That's fabulous. And this is just fantastic. So whoever gets this journal is very lucky, because I am finally parting with this wonderful magazine page. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And that is from 1895. Look at these images. They're just lovely, lovely, lovely pieces. So you can have a lot of fun with that if you're doing mixed media art or collaging, or just to have and enjoy. Here is a lovely plate from a 1905 book here. Forward again, the boys running through the forest here, chasing something. And a 1950s receipt here from Pearl's Shop. And look at this awesome plate here from the 1930s, this little girl hanging the laundry. And she's going to cut it to make a skipping rope. It's kind of whimsical. This, I don't even have to tell you what this is. You can see what it is. It is the first plate or page of a dictionary, vintage dictionary, 1930s children's book page. I made into a double pocket here. And then this is just a vintage teen book. I put antique paper on the back to make it nice and sturdy. And this is from a bookkeeping book here, which is kind of cool. And that's an antique book. Another 120-year-old page here, which is lovely. The Country Life Reader, a lovely poem here about lilies, which made me happy because I do like lilies. And here is just the front page of a book from a US book. I just love the colors, the blues and the greens, and how vivid they are 100 years later. And then there we have one of my waterfall journaling spots that I'm just in love with doing now. Lots of wonderful poems and images from all different kinds of vintage and antique dictionaries. And then I just hit a little journaling spot in here. Pulled that from the book, chapter 8. And tucks inside here on this wonderful 1930s song that came out of a children's book. Another children's book pocket there. And look at this one, Come and Ride. And this is sort of the Dick and Jane series, but a different family. That's from the 1940s. And little kids going on a picnic here. I hand stamped that vintage school book page. And there's the 1973, the same Beacon Lodge. They kept all of their books right into the 80s, and I was able to get them up to the 70s. And look at this gorgeous plate here. Angels Are Our Helpers. And that's also from a children's book. And just some really fun clusters with lots of texture and antique pieces. This is a plate from the Scottish Highlands book, and I really, really like that a lot. And just so much fun. Here's another one of these wonderful beacon lodges. That one's over 50 years old. From Crybaby to Helper Boy. Look at this little girl at the globe. Just adorable. And here we have another children's book page. And here is a wonderful pineapple pattern from a doily. And then you can journal under there as well. And I made a pocket out of this doily, a different one. And that is holding a 1953 receipt from Brock's Milk Company. And that is from Massachusetts. And then here I have another blank journaling page here from an antique book. It's hard to find one with blank on both sides, so that's a good one. Little journaling spot here. And these are all mounted on top of a 1955 American Highways road map. We've got Washington down here, BC up here, and then look at this beautiful, well-foxed and aged page here from the early 1900s. I love it. They're going to town there. And another fun cluster up here. I'm going as fast as I can. Okay, look at this cutie little boy. That's from the early 1900s. Fishing Handbook of Nature Study. More hand stamping there that I did. Perennial antique book. And then I just put, this was a vintage book on flowers, and I just put a bunch together. You can pull them, tear them apart, use them, or just add paper, or journal in all the white spaces, which is what I do. And then the Householder's Guide to Outdoor Beauty. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, poppies. And the bookkeeping book there, antique bookkeeping lessons book, and this is from 1937, February 4 and 5, and I can change out the dates. When you purchase anything from my shop in Etsy, hyperstamper.etsy.com, you can just request in the comments for me to flip things up, or message me in Etsy, or email me, emails below, and I'm happy to do that, or add things that you'd like or interested in for free. Another plate from the early 1900s, pre-1910, and that is just some sheep up on a mountain side in Britain. Another antique book page here with some lovely images. And here's 2 banknotes from the 1920s, so 100 years old. Put them in a little pocket here I made out of an 1899 newspaper. And a vintage botanical book page, which I'm almost out of, but have acquired a new one, so I'm very excited. And look at this fun one here. That is that 1964 graduating class. And I just, again, look at the blue fonts and the beehives. Wonderful. Just cracks me up. And just a little journaling card there. And I used to tea dye so many things, like that one there. It's quite old. I don't need to anymore. Everything I have is so well aged naturally that I don't even need to do that anymore. This is a plate out of that business book that I have from the 30s, and that's a pretty cool one. Here is a 1950s embroidery book, a vintage bird book plate there. And this is, even though it's high gloss, it is very old. That is from the 40s, so 84 years old. But look at the quality of that. It's always fun to read the letters, the postcards that people write from far away. And a really fun little antique page that I made into a journaling envelope. Journaling space there. Try to give you as much space, but again, use the white space. Doesn't have to be traditional blank pages. Camptown Races song from a vintage songbook, and the very last page of the Ben Hur book, the end there. Isn't that great? So I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. You can get that with free shipping in North America at hyperstamper.etsy.com, and come back soon. Bye.